One of the core themes of this year's Mobile World Congress is a humanizing AI. It's a focus on looking at generative AI through a practical lens and personalizing experiences for the consumers, such as Ken Brown. The Mobile World Congress will host some 41 sessions on artificial intelligence, looking at everything from AI in business to AI in innovation for climate change. According to the data from the event partner, PwC, 70% of CEOs expect generative AI to change the way that their companies create value in the coming years. Despite this, just 35% of executives say their business will focus on governing AI systems and processes. And that opens a lot of doors. For that, we're going to have more insight into the role of AI at this year's Mobile World Congress, and we're joined by Ray Wang. Ray is a principal analyst and founder and chairman of Silicon-based Constellation and waving proudly there from California. Ray, always a pleasure to see you. I got a kick out of Ken Brown's stories. Couldn't stop chuckling kind of through that last thing. But let's talk about some of the highlights of the tech event so far, because he really did kind of bring it to us the way that this is all going to encompass our lives and really weave its way into our lives.
You're absolutely right, and his enthusiasm is amazing and infectious. What's going on at all the conferences is there definitely is an AI track. It's just like we talked about the internet or we talked about mobile. AI is that next big wave. Digital was somewhere in between, and that digital transformation is helping us get to that AI wave, but we are in the age of AI, and that means whether it's a device, whether it's a software product, whether it's governance models or principles, or whether it's around security, you're going to see a lot of conversations there. So for example, Microsoft launched and talked about AI principles and kind of how you can access and what the data centers are going to be like. Google spent a lot of time talking about Gemini and really the features that you can actually access within the Google system and within these things from allergy and nutritional information that you can actually pull up using things like Gemini. You have conversations with Samsung, and it's AI in the smartphone, of course. It's Mobile World Congress. And so it's a wide range of conversation points that are all happening there with our people down there.
Well, let's talk more about how AI is factoring into the latest tech at this event.
Well, the main thing with AI is it's doing a couple things. On one hand, it's helping you automate things in the background. That's what we call a series of ambient experiences. These are contextual, they're relevant, they're little nudges. An ambient experience might be like a kind reminder that says, by the way, while you're doing this, do something else. Might be, for example, the way we take a picture and suddenly it's always a blue sky and the image correction works, right? These are little experiences that are contextually relevant that happen in the background and they jump in. And of course, there's a level of AI that's actually really about identifying things we couldn't do before, looking at patterns and looking at insight. They're all coming together, whether it's a device, whether it's an experience. It's what's happening right now inside those Mobile World Congress confines.
You know, leading into you, we also had that quick story talking about executives and what AI is going to mean to them. What's your thought about the fact that just a very small percentage seemingly are really concerned about governing AI? Because that is what so many people here in Washington, D.C. are focusing on.
You know, that's right. I mean, everyone is just trying to get their hands around what AI is going to mean. I'll give you an example. You know, if you get AI at 85% accuracy in customer experience, that's great, right? You can actually put one less person on the line. You can actually have more people focused on in-store experiences. 85% accuracy is great. 85% accuracy in supply chain procurement, your manufacturing operations will come to a grinding halt. 85% accuracy in finance, somebody goes to jail. And 85% accuracy in healthcare, nah, that's not going to cut it. So we need enough data to get to a level of precision that stakeholders are going to trust, and that's what companies are going to have to do. And then, of course, there are going to be AI frameworks, understanding where the data is coming from, how it's being sourced, how it's being reused. We have to fight misinformation, campaigns that are happening, spoofs, all the phishing attacks on the cybersecurity side. That's what enterprise leaders are going to start grokking once they get a handle of just what their AI strategy will be.
Okay, let me kind of hold your feet to the fire and tell me about some tech companies that are leading the great AI race right now. And which countries are they from?
Well, the big races are really coming between U.S. and China. That's really the race in terms of AI advancements. You've got NVIDIA at the chip side, that's the picks and axes, the GPUs that power things. But there are other chip manufacturers that are going to eventually show up into the market, like an AMD. And of course, companies like Facebook and Microsoft and Google are all building chips. And, OpenAI is building chips. So there's a race to get to the chips. On the software side and in the cloud, of course, you've got companies like Google. You've got companies like Amazon, you got companies like Alibaba, right? They're all jumping, Xiaomi's jumping into the space, right? And everybody has lots of data sets where they can mine for patterns and jump into the AI side. And then, of course, there are companies that are just using AI really smart. And those are companies that are going to apply AI to do things like insurance calculations, right? Some large insurance companies are using it to change the way they look at underwriting. And that's going to impact, how people actually issue insurance or look at risk ratings. So there's lots of places where AI is being applied, but those are kind of the stacks of some of the winners that are going to be there.
Okay, this question is kind of confusing in a way, but is the interest in AI overblown, one, and secondly, are we already too dependent on AI?
It's a great question. The interest is not overblown. This could actually change things. We predict one of the biggest white-collar recessions will happen in 2027 as jobs that are knowledge worker jobs get replaced. Just like we had a manufacturing boom and jobs were outsourced or mechanized or automated, there will be new jobs created. We're just not sure exactly how much more versus what happens. And so that's why we think there's a white-collar recession by 2027. Now, the other question that you're asking is really, what do you do in this situation? Is it completely overblown, or are there new things that happen? I would say that we're going to see different shifts in terms of behaviors. Are we being more dependent? Maybe, but if you're training someone, you want them to do the repetitive tasks over and over again to see patterns. But once they has a handle on the patterns, what you want to do is let them free and then let the AI take over. And so that's going to be an important piece.
Okay, Ray, at the start of this, I misspoke. You're in Austin, Texas. You know it, I know it, now everybody else knows it. But as always, thanks, Ray Wang, for your insight into this.
No problem. Take care.